Okay, so Dune Part 2. So Dune Part 2 is the much awaited sequel to Dune Part 1, released a couple years ago, directed by Denis Villeneuve, starring Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya. And let me tell you, when I watched Dune Part 1 in theaters a couple years ago, I came out of it liking it, but not loving it like a lot of people did. They thought this was the greatest sci-fi movie ever made, and I thought it was good, but I didn't love it. So when I went into this movie after hearing all of this amazing reviews, this insane build-up, the insane hype this movie was getting, I was like, all right, how good could this movie really be? And let me tell you guys, I love this movie. This movie is insane. It is that good. I mean it. And it's an accomplishment on every level of filmmaking come together. It's insane how they built this world. They already had the setup from Dune Part 1, so all of this movie is development, and it's insane. I love every character. Every actor was at the top of their game. Whew. Dune Part 2, man, what a movie. I could already tell, like 20 minutes into this movie, I could already tell this movie was gonna win Best Picture this year. There's no chance this is not winning every award out there. It's insane. The amount of detail and love that Denis Villeneuve poured into this film is on another level, and he really is one of the greatest of this generation. Up to this point, Blade Runner 2049 was my personal favorite Denis Villeneuve movie, and I think Dune Part 2 might take the spot. I mean, I might have some recency bias because I watched it like a day ago, so it might change with time, but right now this is a beautiful movie. I struggle to find the words to accurately describe how amazing this and epic this movie is. It's mind-blowing, really. Now, I don't want to go into a lot of detail because there's still a lot of people who haven't seen the movie, but it picks up right where Dune Part 1 left off. It picks right off, and it makes me think that whenever this comes out on Max or on Blu-ray, watching the two back to back is gonna be an amazing experience, an epic experience, because now the flow of both of them just is so natural. It's it's gonna make a really great viewing experience. They introduce a couple of new characters in this movie. Fate Rotha, played by Austin Butler, is amazing. I mean, I already knew Austin Butler was pretty good from Elvis, but he completely transformed himself into this ruthless, psychotic monster of a character that's so insane. The physicality of it and the ruthlessness of Fate Rotha is amazing to watch on screen. It's just brutal. Rebecca Ferguson as Paul Atreides' mom, Lady Jessica, was amazing as well. She had this a character turn at a point in the movie where she kind of transformed a bit. She keeps some of her traits, but you can tell she is on another plane now, and it's a really cool twist they gave that character, and I really loved it. But by far, I think the best character in the movie, and I think you're gonna hear a lot of people say this because I've seen the memes already, but Stilgar, played by Javier Bardem, is probably the funniest character in the movie, but not a forced humor funny. He's just so organically funny, and you're gonna see the memes because he is this really devout believer of Paul and the prophecy, and Paul is really not believing it himself. He's like, I don't think I'm the guy, bro. I'm not the guy. And he's like, that's exactly how the guy would say, Lisan al-Gaib, you are him. You're so humble. There's no way you're not him. And there's no way to make him flake on his belief. And that's just really, it leads to really funny scenes with him. And I loved it. We visit other planets in this movie. We go to different locations, and each planet has its own color palette, its own ambience, and its own music. And I the Harkonnen planet, I forgot his name right now. I don't know, something. But the Harkonnen planet had this black sun that didn't really reflect light off of anything, and everything looked black and white. So the entire sequence in that planet, at least the one in the arena where Fate Rotha is introduced, is in black and white. And I thought that was such an interesting aesthetic. I just loved how it looked. It was amazing. Now, this movie really made me notice a lot of similarities with Star Wars, and essentially, I don't want to give a lot away, but the story arc of Paul reminded me a lot of the story arc with Anakin, where he is the chosen one and everyone looks up to him, but you really feel there's a sinister undertone throughout the arc. And that's because of his mom. And wow, it is an amazing movie. I really struggle to find the words to describe it, but it is great, guys. Hans Zimmer's score is also at the top of its game. You really can't go wrong with Hans Zimmer. He's just one of the greatest, up there in Mount Rushmore. He is insanely good in this movie, as always. And yeah, the swell of the music, the epicness the music brings to screen is just everything complements itself. The costumes, the visuals, the music, the acting, everything comes together to create this epic just feel. You feel this movie. You don't really watch this movie. You feel this movie. You live in that world. You feel you're living the movie. When I say my jaw dropped more than a couple of times, I'm not even kidding. My jaw was on the floor watching some of these scenes. There's a specific scene with a sandworm, where Paul does something with a sandworm, and that part was insane. It was so gripping visually. Wow. What a movie, Dune 2. This is gonna win everything. This is gonna win every award out there. I'm gonna touch on some of the stuff that I found a little, I'm not gonna say I found bad about the movie, but that made me think, because I don't think this movie has a lot of bad in it. But it's a lot of the things I had gripes with in the first one is the pacing is a little slow, Even though it's faster, it's better than the first one. I think the pacing in this movie is better. It still felt a bit slow. And the Harkonnens, man. The Harkonnens are basically the orcs of this movie. The orcs of this universe. They are all bad. There's not one good Harkonnen. They're all one-dimensional bad guys. They all look essentially the same. And yeah, that's basically it. That's all I got for grabs. Yeah. Harkonnens are just not that interesting, except for Fate Rotha. But Fate Rotha was just a psychopath, and there was not much more to that. Not many layers to it. Also, Christopher Walken as the Emperor just felt a bit funny. When I saw Christopher Walken as the Emperor, I didn't see the Emperor per se. I just saw Christopher Walken. I heard the Christopher Walken voice, and it kind of took me out of it a little bit. Florence Pugh is in this movie. She is amazing. She looks great. The costuming on her was otherworldly. It felt alien, and I loved it. And Anna Taylor-Joy, I felt she was in this movie way too little. She was almost not in this movie. And if you go to this movie expecting to see a lot of her, you're gonna come out of it very disappointed. So yeah, I went into Dune 2 not really loving Dune Part 1, and I came out loving. I was ecstatic with Dune Part 2. This really felt like The Empire Strikes Back. They upped the game at every possible level, and it was amazing, and I loved it. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on Dune Part 2. Have you seen it? Please let me know down in the comments below. Remember to follow me at caffeine.prince98 on Instagram. I don't have Twitter because it doesn't exist, and Facebook is for the memes. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.